Whoa.
Hey now.
Whoa. Where are you? Where are we? How did I get here?
Space?
Space. The Death Star.
Didn't we figure out you're live from the Bahamas FTX headquarters?
Yep.
So explain to us what you're doing with that 600 million. Because
Bro, if I had 600 million and a bunch of orgies to attend, I would not be here right now.
The news this
Although
weekend...
it would be an elaborate front. Be like, look at this prick. Still doing a show. He could not be involved in it. There's no way.
You got to keep... Look
at his half-empty liquor bottles there. Doesn't even have a Macallan.
Only thing you can do.
What's that?
You got to keep an unsuspecting day job.
Yeah.
To throw everybody off. But it seems that the wallet that hacked FTX's accounts, inside job, backdoor, Bahamian government, no one knows what to think. But that wallet decided to dump 50 million of ETH on the open market, turn it into Ren Bitcoin, send it through a bridge, and you'll never hear from it again. There's a very specific laundering method, which now, because Tornado Cash is gone, is the preferred laundering method of criminals. And that seems to be what is happening to this money. And I guess the funny thing was, when this wallet bought $250 million worth of ETH barely went up like $30 on that news. When they sold 50 million, ETH fell $100 on that news. That's an order book that is unbalanced, to say the least. There seems to be much more sell pressure above than there is buy pressure below, but we'll see. As we logged on to the show, we were staging a very small rally in ETH, about $60 off the 1080 lows made late last night or early in the morning, depending on where you live. And we will see if this is just a brief respite from hell or whether this is an actual bounce. Hopefully us talking on this show has a positive effect on price.
Just in, JP Morgan officially registers a cryptocurrency wallet trademark.
You know, it's one of these funny things where TradFi and their entire army, remember, every industry, it's just a bunch of virtue signaling cattle that really can't think for themselves. It's the same thing in finance. If you're in traditional finance, you look down on crypto because, you know, it's a child's game and it's not where the real money is or the real intelligent people. You know, you have that vibe. And then the people who make moves at the top stoke those flames because it helps them keep the price suppressed while they obviously start to move. And, you know, you had the former SEC chairman on CNBC this morning, and the anchor pressed him at the end of the crypto FTX discussion they were having. The anchor pressed him, like, do you think this is the actual journey to zero we're on right now? Or does blockchain actually survive this? And, you know, we go back up and da-da-da-da. And he almost seemed pained to say it, but he goes, you know, it's very hard to deny that there are new efficiencies found with blockchain, i.e. they know that this technology is the future of finance. And look, the future of finance is boring. This isn't something your average person is going to latch on to. They're just going to wait for the app where it happens seamlessly and they don't have to think about it, right? They're not really here caring about how their money gets from point A to point B. But the people who matter are obviously making big moves behind the scenes. And we know that they would love an absolute crypto massacre here so they can go in and pick off the bones and come up with their own products, package them into some exotic derivative that is governed by the SEC and that they can sell to mutual funds and hedge funds and all sorts of things. That's what's happening as we speak.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with somebody who is not in crypto, doesn't own any, but I consider him to be quite a savvy, intelligent person, and very knowledgeable in investments and stuff like that. And he brought up the FTX thing, and that's where definitely starting to get that conversation everywhere. Like my mom called me, she's like, what was going on with that FTX? Like, did that affect you at all? Like, definitely getting that in your day to day life now. But I was talking to this guy, and he was like, like, I get it. I kind of get it, but he's like, I don't really get it. He's like, I don't understand the use case. He's like, I understand Bitcoin. I kind of get Ethereum. He goes, but what's with all the other, like, all of these altcoins that, people talk about? And I said, well, I think the general consensus for most people is that a lot of them are just going to go to zero. So you're probably right. I said, but, the tokenization of things is definitely, there's going to be a lot of possibilities in terms of things like loyalty programs too, right? Like issuing tokens that don't have any value, but within that ecosystem can be applied and redeemed for things. Like, we saw Starbucks getting into NFTs, right? We know that they're going to be doing that for the loyalty program. Tokenization of things will be there too. And again, like, we look at this market, and I'm not seeing very many. Have you seen any big companies like shy away from it at this point, despite the FTX scandal? Like, has any big, like, Coca-Cola or Pepsi or Nike, has anyone come out and said, yeah, no, we're not doing it now, other than dropping the FTX logo off stuff, right?
No,
Like,
it's finance. The finance industry is what is at issue here, right? Right now in the finance world, you do not want to show crypto on your books. You don't want to show that you own Coinbase. You don't want to have any private ventures in crypto. It's all a scam. They're going for their kill shot right now. They're going.
Okay, sorry. I saw what you mean.
Okay, so within that industry, it is untouchable right now, and people are trying to get it off their books as quick as possible. For the companies that are all competing with each other and trying to get ahead and get a leg up on whatever the new thing is, they haven't slowed down a bit. They're all making deals with Polygon every other day.
Matic. Are we sure about Matic?
Very, very. I think the problem is everybody knows at this point. It's the worst kept secret.
Yeah, I was going to say absolutely the worst kept secret.
To be. So very short term, it's going to just, screw with people for sure. But looking out, 5 or 6 years, it's probably a very nice compounded gain for you there if you buy it and hold it for 5 years. I don't know if anybody listening to this show has ever buy and held anything for 5 years. Listening, not hosting. Listening.
Yeah. Oh, you were about to give me shit. Yeah, I held Cardano for 5 years. So
No, I was taking the shit preemptively away from you by saying not the hosts on this show, just the people listening.
My problem is I can't fucking sell anything.
Right.
Ugh. All is well in hindsight. Guys, GM Riz, Fellboy, Cambo, Mr. Sandman, everybody else listening. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm not sure about where you are. Well, I know where you are, free market, but it is getting cold as shit here up in Canada. We went from people wanting to sit on patios last week to full-on winter gear. I almost got into an accident this morning because the road was so icy. So time for the winter tires. I'm a little bit late on that. Vintage extras. Man, a lot of Cryptoon goons. I'm seeing a lot of Cryptoon goons lately. Are you?
Yes, I think that is a
thing.
It's a loyal community. Plus, they got that Cuphead show on Netflix, Constant Exposure.
Yeah, man. I've just seen it a lot on Twitter, a lot of PFPs on it again. I still have my one rare one that I minted, and I've always really liked them. They're good art too. So
they are fabulously done. Great team.
Yeah, shout out to AlphaMint member is Jesse, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Great project. And I remember minting that just before the show started and not knowing what was going to happen with it. And then just while we were on the show, just went absolutely nuts. So shout out to the Cryptoon Goons community. Glad to see you guys still doing well and strong. What's that? Yeah, I remember
minting stuff. That was
Well,
good.
speaking of minting, we're going to be talking about it in a little bit, but Valhalla is going to be minting this week again. The zero point 0.5 ETH mint price, seeing the allow list sales for about 1.5 for the two of them. Interesting dynamic going on there, but I don't know how much there's.
The scariest thing to me was that they let two mints, and I know that was very standard in the bull market, and it's what we, of course, as collectors prefer.
Yeah.
But why do we prefer it? It's so we can keep one and dump one. So they're basically saying, here,
Yeah.
buy one, you could dump
Keep
one.
one, sell one.
5,000 are
Yeah.
ending up. There better be a lot of demand after this thing mints. That's what scared me the most.
I would have rather have, yeah, personally, as even just somebody that, as I mentioned before, buys and has a hard time selling. I think I probably would have rather bought one and or minted one and then bought one on the secondary rather than minted
For
two.
sure. I mean,
Just
does the
not for my own price action or whatnot, because most certainly I would have to buy it at a premium. But we always talk about this with NFTs. It's very hard when you have one. It's very difficult to trade it, which means you're more apt to kind of hold it, right? When you can mint 2, 3, 5 of them, yeah, that's when you see all these people taking the little 0.1 gains over mint, 0.25 gains over mint. One is a difficult number. When you have one, oftentimes it feels like you have none. So we're definitely going to see how that plays out. But as you said too, there better be a lot of people on the sidelines wanting these. If you can only mint two, and most people are feeling, or sorry, if you can mint two, and most people are feeling the same way that we're feeling, and there's a lot of people on the sidelines, there might be an incredible amount of buy pressure because there's so much fewer people that were on the allow list, right?
Without question, I this is very dangerous to me in a bear market to allow two on this type of mint. Do they allow two for the public too? I forgot if not that necessarily that they would even be
If
there
it'll get to the public,
for the public, but if the team was even thinking about allowing that, that just to me like I don't know. Here's what I'm wondering. This is a project that ultimately, maybe not yet, but ultimately intends to target mainstream gamers in a plethora of ways. Are there any mainstream gamers out there that pay $600 for anything right now except a new video game system? Like anything like that? That's how much because this is
yeah. I mean, you'll get like the collector's editions, like the big name franchises, like like a Diablo or a Halo. They'll have like a collector's pack that's like a limited edition. Like it a lot of times has like an art book with it and I almost said a CD if people ever use those anymore. I haven't seen a CD port in forever. But you know what I mean, like collectibles. So
right.
There is a world in which, yeah, like collectibles do hold importance to gamers for sure. I've known people that will collect everything Blizzard, every special edition thing, and it'll sit on a shelf and it won't open. They'll buy two of them or whatever.
They
So
wouldn't
yeah,
have done that when Blizzard was a startup company that that hadn't released anything yet.
Right. Yeah, no, like there is the absolutely collectible tendencies to with gamers for
If
sure.
the sale is targeting NFT people, whether you want to call them collectors, traders, whatever it is, but the product is ultimately targeting mainstream gamers, what is going to happen on that mint? I wonder. I
don't think
hope.
the mint is drawing any kind of hype to mainstream gamers. You know, I think
I wouldn't know where to look, but not that I can tell.
yeah. I think that would come with I think that would come with the success of the actual streaming platform, right? Like that's where, there was a lot of debate on what is the point of this Valhalla mint. It's a PFP, but it doesn't really have much to do with their actual stacked streaming platform. And I'm a big believer that, a rising tide, lifts all ships in that regard, right? Like exposure to the stacked platform will then create demand for the collectibles that are underlying it. But I do think that they'll find a way to incorporate it too. So
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will talk a little bit more about it later on in the show, but yeah, episode 167 underway. We're going to talk a little bit about the FTX hacker dumping ETH. I guess we already kind of did. FTX saga seems to be winding down a little bit. New FUD coming out now from GrayScale. People wanting to see their proof of reserves and that their wallets are matching up with what they actually say they have. And right now, Grayscale's trading at an absolutely massive discount, the biggest that it's ever traded at. So, I mean, if they do have their books in line, this is a great time to buy it, I would think, unless there's um, more underlying issues with them. But yeah. So over the weekend, we definitely saw a little bit of a pullback in Ethereum, as we mentioned. The FTX hacker dumping about 50,000 coins on the market. Going to pull up the charts here right now, and yeah, we are down. Well, not quite as much as we were last night. We were sitting at about down 8%. We were almost at 10%. We're bouncing back a little bit here, but doesn't seem like there's a lot of buy pressure right now. That 50,000 ETH move sounds big, $50 million, but in the grand scheme of things, not a huge hit on the market cap. But when it's market sold and there's not a lot of buy pressure, it does drop pretty quickly, as we saw yesterday. Bitcoin kind of doing the same thing, not to the same extent, but it definitely had its pullback as well. Do you think this is simply just the FTX hacker dumping, or is there more kind of contagion or fear going down with it?
The order book, as we talked about all last week, is extremely thin, and wherever big money started coming in, it was likely going to push it a lot in that direction. Right now, relatively small money is big money because the order book is so thin. So it is telling in the sense that we went down a lot faster than we went up, and it was for a very small amount of money. There's certainly contagion fears, and it's very difficult to understand why they would be selling at a discount unless there's something wrong. Ideally, it's not so wrong that it's another blow up that really leads to systemic contagion. But smart people who own lots of money, lots of equity, and lots of debt in these type of projects, they're not getting out for a 40% discount for no reason. And
Yeah, that's what I was
we
going to say.
have to wonder why. So the news that came out before the show started, maybe an hour ago or a little less, was that they keep their money with Coinbase as a custodian. But Coinbase does not release the addresses of their custodial wallets for what they call quote unquote security reasons. Now, we all prefer transparency on chain in everything we do, and we think it's a feature, not a bug of the blockchain.
Yeah, of course.
There seems, of course, in finance to be many reasons why you would want to keep what you're doing a secret. Okay, we know that in traditional finance, there are things called dark pools where deals are made OTC and large amounts of stock move for prices that aren't the market price. And you just don't know. And Coinbase refuses to show the wallets, though today they came out and said they just checked them, and yes, all the Bitcoin is there. So if you trust what Coinbase is saying. Now, Coinbase is under stricter rules than most. That doesn't mean they can't be. I mean, Enron lied, right? I mean, no one is saying they cannot
we're
lie.
getting back to that dirty T word, right? Trust.
Right. No one is saying they cannot lie, but if they do lie, they cannot hide. There is nowhere to run. This isn't the Bahamas. It's not unregulated. They can't. There is a huge penalty for them to be lying here. That said, nobody trusts anything after the last few weeks. Everyone is scorned, and everybody is not trustworthy of any institution unless they can show what they got. So I think price on some level like I said, has rebounded off the lows. So it's gone back to the middle of its new range, and it's just sitting there. We're wondering what's going to happen. Will it be another shoe? Will we get proof that GrayScale is solvent? Or will we get nothing from this point on and leave the market with uncertainty? Just got to wait and see.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this because on one hand, like, yeah, trusting blindly has proven to not be the greatest strategy right now, especially with centralized exchanges. FTX, that domino kind of shook everyone up, right? I think there was this mass realization of, yeah, why are we just trusting this person? Like, why should we trust Brian Armstrong? Why should we trust Coinbase? At the same time, Coinbase is definitely playing by some different rules, right? They're a publicly traded company. They're under a lot more scrutiny, especially now with the FTX saga. And you know, I guess if I had to pick one centralized exchange to kind of take them for take their word for it, it would have to be Coinbase. Doesn't mean that I feel good about it. The other thing is too, can you figure out a reason why they wouldn't want to share the addresses? I mean, the article brings up a good point. Like, everybody knows Satoshi's address. It's got 1 million Bitcoin in it. It's worth a lot of money. A lot of money. Doesn't make it any more at risk. Like,
And
what
Nansen,
is the scary part of them showing their wallets?
Nansen, who you guys may know as an on-chain tool for figuring out all sorts of things, from NFTs to coins to whatever happens on the blockchain. They teased the fact that they're going to be releasing wallets that they're pretty sure are, blah, 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 the wallets. But both Coinbase first last week and GrayScale this weekend claim it's for security reasons without going too deep on what those security reasons are. Now, Mike Dudas, who started Lynx DAO, you guys probably know they just had a mint over the weekend for their pros. I forget what they're called. But he also runs a VC fund. He tweeted out, if you can't keep crypto wallets safe once people give you money, you are not a responsible enough custodian to be investing other people's money in crypto. So the idea that they're not sharing these wallets for quote unquote security reasons falls flat on him. And he is someone I trust. But the other thought would be that they want to make moves without being detected. Now, that's not just for nefarious reasons. That's so they're not targeted by other funds. I mean, look at FTX. We keep saying it. Had he made it another week, we may have never found out he was insolvent, right? But it's the same type of situation here. We don't know exactly what GrayScale has done with this Bitcoin and the wallet. They can probably go to a lot of institutions and say, look, we have this many billions of dollars of assets in these wallets. Give us loans on it. So they could show you the transparent wallets. You don't know if they haven't taken loans on that Bitcoin and then taken that money and gambled it elsewhere and lost it. I mean, that is the big scam currently in crypto, is the idea of creating, it was taken to another level by FTX and other people who created fake tokens and took loans out on those, creating your own shitcoin, giving it a low float, creating an inflated value with marketing, and then taking out loans on it is certainly different than taking out loans on Bitcoin you have, because Bitcoin has more value than a coin that you just made up. That doesn't mean you can't all lose that money you borrowed and now there's just nothing left. So
I guess there might be something there, and I maybe labeling it as security concerns would be not the best way to do it. But I suppose because this trades on a traditional stock market, right, which has open and close hours, maybe there is something to the fact that if the wallets are known and they're doing anything with that, they could be the target of like some big like arbitrage selling and buy. You know what I mean? Like, is there something to that? Because if they're doing things off hours when the markets aren't active, um, that it would affect the price weirdly. Like, is there something?
I just think they don't want other funds to see what they're doing with the money, because that is, this is a game of poker. If you see the other person's hand, you got a lot of information to work with there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out a reason why, because simply knowing the public address of a wallet should not expose you to any more security concerns, right? Like, there's just I can't wrap my head around that argument.
Well, if they did what I said, okay, I would bet. I mean, look, nothing is for sure in this world, but I would bet that the Bitcoin is there. I don't even know why people would care about seeing the wallet, because the Bitcoin could be there. We don't know if they took out loans against it.
Right.
How do you force them to show their liabilities, right? That's much more important. Or I shouldn't say much more, but it's equally as important, to the point where if you only have one piece of information, the other information doesn't matter. The other piece doesn't matter. You need both of these to get an idea of solvency and the health of the company, and whether they should be selling at a discount or not. So yes, we want to see the wallets, but we also need to know what their liabilities are. And that is up to them, whether they're going to show us, how they're going to show us, when they're going to show us. We will see.
But this is a Bitcoin trust, right? Like, it's not quite an ETF, but it kind of functions the same way. Like, they shouldn't be taking.
Look, if you want to,
You shouldn't be able to take out debt on that, though, right?
If you want to, you shouldn't be. We shouldn't be able to, of course. If you want to knock the SEC and Gensler for anything, these guys have been fighting to turn into an ETF for years. Okay, they've been begging for it. Had they done that, everything would be transparent. There'd be
going as far as suing them for not letting them.
Right.
You know what? Actually, that's a great point, because I actually think that would make me more bullish on the fact that, like, they've actively been trying to become an ETF on the U.S. stock exchange.
But look at it like this.
But you got to think that their books are all in order if they're trying that hard, right? Because if all of a sudden the SEC was like, yeah, sure, let's do it, they're going to be pretty heavily audited.
It takes a very short amount of time to take a speeding train off the track and run into a wall. It could be going great for hundreds of miles, and it takes a split second to jump off the track and off a cliff, right? GrayScale may have been the most upstanding organization for years, but that they understand. If GrayScale gets a Bitcoin ETF, they're all multi-billion. I mean, that's the golden fucking ticket. Okay, that's mainstream people being able to buy Bitcoin without being worried about getting rugged. That is the golden ticket if they can get that. Every financial institution in the world has to use that instead of actual Bitcoin to get exposure on their books, right? It would be the goal. So for years, they've been telling investors, we're going to get this golden goose. Once we get this golden goose, you're going to be fucking rich. Once we get this golden goose, it's all coming in. And for years, they can't get the goose. Then all of a sudden, summer happens. They get out of line. Who knows? Luna, same thing. I am speculating here. I'm just saying there's obviously a reason they're selling at a discount. Is it only that they're being opaque and it's just the market, not insiders, selling this thing at a discount? I find that hard to believe. I think that there is a reason it's selling at a discount. Ideally, this reason isn't full insolvency, systemic risk contagion, but there seems to be a reason. So we're speculating as to what it could be, and give them their damn ETF.
I'm thinking about, after this show is done, logging into my account and buying some GBTC. I have the ETH one. I don't know what the discount is. Like I said, I don't really check in and log in very often to check it. But at that kind of discount, I mean, it seems like there's a pretty reasonable risk reward scenario there, right? Like, do we believe that there's greater than 40% chance that they haven't been playing by the rules. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of put it into that situation, right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
if they feel enough pressure and Wednesday all of a sudden they're like, okay, fine, here's the fucking wallets and everything's by the books. I mean, you gotta assume that gap is going to close, right?
Well, that's my question. Is it at that much? Wasn't it selling at a discount long before this? Is it only at this discount because of this recent need for transparency and they're being opaque?
I
Maybe
think
it
there's
took a
probably a combination of that. This is the by far the biggest discount. It normally trades at a little bit of a discount just because of their fees that they take, right?
right.
Like there's always going to be a little bit of a discount built in there, but it has traded at a premium too. And normally that it doesn't ebb and flow much greater than 5%, at least when I was paying attention to it. So this 50% discount that it's at right now is pretty substantial.
I
Uh,
want to say definitely yes, that's a great, but I would just have to read their statements. I haven't. If I took this at face value and you told me this is literally just a trust that holds 1-for-1 Bitcoin
it's
with,
supposed to.
if that's all it is, yeah, I would say it's a buy. If there is any language within their financial statements that give them any type of leeway to do anything else, I'd say that that leeway could be, there could be a hole there, which is what they're exploiting, which is why they're selling at a discount. Otherwise, I would say yes. Why, this could just be caught up in the crypto contagion.
Yeah.
Everything's going to zero FUD type of.
I guess my other question would be like, how many people actually know that Grayscale is screwed, and yet it hasn't come out publicly yet for it to be trading at that deep of a hole, right? I bet it's mostly just the FTX kind of contagion. I think that there's probably a lot of people that this is their only exposure to crypto. And when they saw that going down, they're like, yeah, I'm out too, right? Like, and I
Mhm.
think retail could move that number pretty reasonably if that's their only exposure to it.
Yeah.
You know, I have my traditional trading account that I can buy this on. I'm not going to sign up for Coinbase. I'm not going to own any of my own crypto, but I can own exposure to it. Oh, this SBF guy is completely crooked and FTX is going down and crypto's all going down. Like I'm out too, right? Like I think
Mhm.
that needle could move pretty quickly. But you also made a good point about the speeding train can go off the rails pretty quickly. And like, maybe that's what happened with FTX. There was just this fork in the road where they made one bad decision and it all started to derail really quickly. Like one bad decision of like, well, we could use the money for this or we could use the money for that. Like maybe there is some potential that, maybe they use some of that in a DeFi liquidity pool or some kind of trade that they shouldn't have.
What if
But
behind the scenes they know that there are places like BlackRock and Goldman all wanting to design their own ETFs and them wanting to be the ones that get to pitch it to the SEC and such? How do we know they're not already being targeted for that reason? And
right.
they were being targeted earlier this year for that reason because it seemed like, damn, if we can't stop the unregulated small guy train, TradFi is going to be left out of this and we're screwed. Maybe they were forced because of backdoor dealings to do shit that they weren't going to do. Doesn't mean they should have done it. But maybe they saw their possibility to be the Bitcoin ETF slip away, and they were like, "Well, we need to do something extreme now to keep people not wanting to redeem their money from us, and whatever."
Well, we also have Paul Graham kind of tweeting out a cryptic-ish tweet that's receiving, I think, rightfully some scrutiny because it's a lot of I know something, but I can't tell you. But I promise I trust this person, but I still can't
Classic.
tell you. What's that?
It's classic.
Oh yeah,
There's a meme for it. The I'm hearing things meme.
yesterday afternoon, Paul Graham tweeted out, a person I have known for more than 10 years who I consider trustworthy is convinced the cryptocurrency economy will shortly experience a systemic risk. I don't know anything concrete, but if I were exposed, I would be concerned. Vitalik responded with, I'm hearing through the grapevine that something important is about to happen. Please recognize the fact that my elite social connections to people who are early to know things makes me cool, and please help me validate my self-image of coolness. To which PG responded, "That's an asshole thing to say. I didn't pass on that message to look cool. I passed it on with some reluctance because the guy who wrote it asked me to. He thought it might help people who are overexposed to risky assets."
Oh, what a good guy. What a saint.
I should also say that the banter has continued on that first tweet. He responded to himself with, "I didn't write that, he did. Since I don't know any details, I don't feel I should edit it. And because I don't know any details, it's no use asking me what he means. If you've read the preceding tweet, you know as much as I do." So this is a friend of a friend now, because if somebody else wrote this, then it's not Paul Graham's words. So it's not a person Paul Graham knows. It's somebody that Paul Graham knows that they know, right?
I
Wouldn't
didn't.
that?
I guess I didn't read that. I thought it was just his friend, and he was relaying the message.
Yeah, but he's saying that he didn't write that. So if he didn't write this, then it's somebody that Paul Graham knows that somebody know, a friend of a friend. I don't
No, I
know.
think he means the person wrote it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Kobe threw that back in Paul Graham's face. I don't know. What's your read on this? I don't really know who Paul Graham is as much as you do. We were talking about it in the pre-show, and you mentioned that he's not somebody that just tweets things out for the sake of tweeting them. So marginally,
Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily.
Engagement farming.
Yeah, I don't think he's baiting, engagement farming, or anything like that. And I just think crypto Twitter is tired, and we just it's like, God forbid, or either just take us out back and finish us already, or bounce this thing, because it's a lot. It's over and over. It's a lot. Go away.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually I had this pulled up when we were talking about the grayscale thing, but it's an interesting chart. I don't know if you were watching the screen when I had it, but I didn't realize that we were kind of getting into that low part since the Bitcoin halving, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is typically something that has been pretty reliable. Of course, the stock to flow model was something that during the last cycle, people said was going to be very important, set a lot of price targets. But again, it's one of those things that, like, if everybody knows it, then is it actually a thing anymore? I don't know.
Bitcoin miner selling is up 400% in the last month.
Bitcoin miners selling, right?
Yes,
At some point, that
brink.
dynamic has to switch, right?
If the price started to go back up, it would probably save some Bitcoin miners. If it continued as it is, many would go out of business, which people think is another systemic shoe to drop here in this whole industry. I don't know anything about stock to flow models or halvenings and why they should be bullish or not.
Yeah.
I know they can time them with the bull cycle, so it's like halvening happen, number go up. Hopefully that happens again, because we're getting another halvening next year.
That's right. Yeah, it is quickly coming. I can't believe that's already happening. It feels like it was really recently that we had the halvening, but typically creates quite a big run on the Bitcoin price too, as we've seen here. This is, of course, a log model, right? But 26 months into the 24, I can't read that. 26 months after one halvening, we got a run that was in 2015, and then 2018 we bottomed out. That was 29 months after that halvening. Now we are 30 months. Seems like we could be at a bottom price there too.
Tell me, you were here on the last cycle. How many months of the only thing happening is the price jokes do we have to endure as this comes upon us? Because that is some low-hanging fruit, but I just anticipate a lot of people using that joke.
You know what? I wasn't as tapped into social as I am now. So like I wasn't actively in it. Like I checked the price, I checked the news, but I was never on like crypto Twitter. I stopped going on crypto Reddit for a bunch of obvious reasons.
I appreciate that well thought out response. You were supposed to laugh and then move on. It was a joke.
Oh, I didn't. Well, again, as somebody that you spend a lot of time on crypto Twitter, I didn't know if that was something that was already happening.
The only thing happening is the price.
Yes, I get that.
Be halved.
All right, I'm sorry. I was really late to getting my coffee this morning, so it's not kicked in yet.
Orgies in the Bahamas will do that too.
Yeah. Coming down from my amphetamine high.
I'm just so happy everyone is finally calling Adderall amphetamines, because for years it was pushed to kids as like, no. This is just to get you like, concentrated. No, you're giving them meth every day. Like,
oh, it's not a methamphetamine, is it? Speaking of meth, I've been rewatching Breaking Bad. You've seen that, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, great show. Great show. Yeah. He just started working for Fring.
Yeah.
Good times. Okay, so let's finish up the crypto conversation with Kobe's tweet here saying, the way I see it, it's up to us now. Probably can't sit around on the benches anymore. To the arena. Just kind of a rallying cry. It's time to start
cryptic,
buying,
right? Like, I don't know if most people would understand, but you have to realize this person leans bearish, not because he's bearish, but because one, he does that thing where it's like, oh, if I say the opposite of what I want, the world will get, because that's just one of his personality traits. But the other thing is he doesn't want to be a shill. He has he's very self-conscious about being perceived as somebody who would shill. Or
he mentioned a bunch of times that the crappy thing about doing the Up Only podcast is that they literally can't talk about anything future looking, because he's going to, unjustly move the needle potentially on his own investments, which he doesn't want to do. Right.
Yeah. But I think there are times when he can't contain himself. He has a feeling, and of course he would never tell you about a small coin or anything like that. But certainly if he's talking about Bitcoin, ETH, the crypto market cap in general, he has been very good with those tweets. He now, whether it's because of his influence or not, he tends to mark bottoms, and he did mark our again, we don't know if crypto is going to collapse just because we're talking on this show and we tend to have that effect, but he at least put in a short-term bottom a few hours ago at 1080. So let's see if this is one of Kobe's famous. I even retweeted another one of his that I think was March 2020. And it's an all caps, similar thing. And yeah, I think he's basically saying it's time for us to get in there and buy and support this thing. He did it also pretty accurately at the June lows. So I don't think you take a call like this, like the bear market is over, but I do think he has good short-term instincts, and maybe we get a little rally here. So we'll see. I have contended that we would close what I call the SBF gap. We pulled back from 1550 where we were after we found out about the FTX news, but we didn't make new lows, and everyone was watching that. And by Friday, we were like, man, it seems like if we haven't made new lows, like the net, it would fool everyone and go back up. But by the time we got to last Friday, everyone was thinking that thing. So I started to go, well, now I'm starting to get worried. If it doesn't go up soon, I actually think the next leg is down. This would be a perfect bear trap. Breakdown right underneath the last range, only to come back up. And this isn't calling a major bottom, but if it were a local bottom, this would make sense, especially with the macro tailwinds we are experiencing. We've talked a lot of macro on the show this year, and it's because it has driven a risk off, risk on sentiment, which whether there was leverage in our industry or not, it certainly has been the story this year. That high inflation, Federal Reserve, risk off, that is abating in a big way, even better than expected. So with macro improving so much, you wonder if maybe crypto is going to stage a rally.
Yeah, I'm kind of just scrolling through the coins here on CoinGecko. we have not affected the price very deeply since we went live, thankfully. But yeah, just kind of looking at, man, like Solana is really kind of slipping off there too. It's
Well, I guess we should have talked about that, because if there's one coin that's seeming to have or
yeah,
feeling the brunt of this, Sam Bankman-Fried was
yeah,
largely associated with the Solana ecosystem. The pump was very deeply involved in its development and its marketing. And of course, the famous meme of the "sell me all your soul at $3 and fuck off," which that was to Coin Mamba, who replied to that meme 2 weeks
yeah. I saw
ago.
that recently, eh?
Yeah. No, he said, "Sell me all your soul at $3 and fuck off, bitch." And everyone was like, "Oh, greatest comeback of all time," blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
patiently waiting on the sidelines to pull the trigger on that joke.
But remember, Sol was almost consensus accepted, widely accepted knowledge that it was going to be a number 3 here to Bitcoin and ETH. And for whatever reason, Sol was going to be the fast, cheap chain that survived, mainly because of what was being developed on. NFTs really had a moment on there. A lot of decentralized finance apps being developed on Solana, like Hexro, like some real traditional finance people using Solana as their ecosystem. Well, last week, Tether has a Solana version, SUSDT, and it started to come out in a big way. Billions of dollars of Sol Tether changed back into ETH Tether, or whatever, basically taken out of the Sol ecosystem. So you said it last week, like you were like, "Man, I just get this feeling. I don't know if Sol is even going to be like a thing. Like it's going to be another Cardano type of,
No, I would actually probably be more bullish on Cardano than Solana.
right."
Neo was what I was referring to it as.
Yeah. And that
But Cardano,
seems
yeah, maybe too. I don't even know where Cardano is on this chart. It's got to be top
that
20 still.
narrative seems to be picking up picking up
Top 8.
steam here, because it continues to make lower lows, even as coins have relatively done better than it. So it is in its own personal hell right now. Now, if it can get some good news flow, it probably goes up more than anybody else, because I can see this thing popping to $19 or $20 in 2 days once it wants to. But man, we were sitting at 30 before all of this happened, and I honestly don't know if it's ever going to get back above 30 during this bear market, right? Like I do think during the next bull, it'll get up to like 150, half of where it was
Yeah,
before.
the sympathy pump, like, oh, that
Right.
used to be a thing. Might as well have
Yeah.
some exposure to that too.
Then in the next bull market, it'll get up to 75. And then the next one, it'll get up to 35. It's just going to go in this sin wave where it has a lower high over cycles. But for now, it certainly is mired by its own personal bearish narrative within our larger bearish crypto narrative. So really not a good time to be a Solana holder. And who was it? Coin Master? There's a large hedge fund that was one of the big Solana backers, got in at 25 cents. So
Yeah.
even now, up a ton, but seeing massive redemptions and calls to shut down because they didn't sell a damn thing. And now they've round tripped all of the down 55% in 1 month last month as a fund, because they didn't sell any of their Solana. And I guess, again,
Well, they
their
would have
one
1,000
saving
extra at
grace
the
may be
top.
they could say they bought it at 25 cents. But there is a certain amount of fiduciary responsibility you have as a fund manager. And if you're up that much and you don't take profits and you leave yourself susceptible to this, you are going to see redemptions. And yep. Wow, flipping Cardano NFTs. I'll tell you, that Hodgkinson guy, he's very active on Spaces, social media. He jumped in a few spaces. Riz and I were on once and hopped on stage, and he certainly it's that zombie chain that feels like it's never going to die. And who knows if they're actually building apps people are going to use. I mean, yeah, Cardano NFTs for profit. I've heard that. I've heard that from other people.
Oh, who knows? I don't know. Cardano was always just like that, 2 years away from being 2 years away, right? It's kind of held on to its top 10 ranking pretty damn well. But
Community effect.
yeah, it is weird, right? Like the Cardano maxis are nuts. Like you still see them. But that's what I hear about Solana too. Like I
That's
hear
why
that
it has a chance. That's why Solana has a chance. That's
yeah,
why it's also going to be like Cardano in the sense it'll probably hang around the top 30 for a long time.
yeah. Oh, I don't know. Let's talk about some NFTs anyways. Maybe a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for KPR. That one was rough. Of course, it revealed right into the FTX drama. It was doing pretty well for a bit there. I mean, pre-reveal is kind of flipping around between 0.6 and 0.95, so quite a big range there. The reveal happened. I think generally people liked them, but then FTX and all the shenanigans started going down, and we pretty much saw a drop in everything. Of course, the KPR market was a little bit more liquid than most existing mints right now, and then we saw a race to the bottom. It sprung up to like 18 17 18% listed very quickly. I think the combination of those listings expired and still pretty decent volume on it have lifted it back up. It fell as low as, I think you mentioned, like what, 0.1 0.15.
I know it was getting close to mint. People thought it was going to go under mint.
It was below mint. I think these minted for
Was it?
0.2. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of times that's the death knell for an NFT. But yeah, we're back up to 0.3 and still getting some volume on it, some bigger sweeps. And you mentioned an influencer pump. Do we know who that was, or there was just
No.
somebody was chilling it?
I just heard secondhand.
Yeah, they're not very active on their Twitter, so I go to them for the news. And oh, sorry, that's Valhalla. Getting my projects mixed up there, but. Yeah, man. I in classic R2 style, bought a bunch of these and could not pull the trigger on selling them. But I actually minted some pretty, or not minted, bought some pretty decent ones pre-reveal. So I guess I feel pretty lucky about that too.
Yeah.
I think I have a top
Sweet.
300 or something.
Sweet.
At what point does like buying for rarity just not matter though? You know what I mean? Like there's this dead zone of, does it really matter if you have like in 10K collection a 3,000th ranked one or
Nope.
4,000th ranked one? You know what I mean?
Nope, none of that mattered. Top 100 in a 10,000 collection, and maybe like the thing is the top 10 may be desirable. The other 90, yeah, people will pay more for them if they really want them, but who knows how long it would take to find the person who really wants it. But
Yeah.
anything below top 100 is not even gonna. It doesn't even matter. Might as well be number 9,000.
Yeah, I remember I tried to sell my my rank 30 Illuminati for, I mean, it was probably a pretty aggressively high price that I put it at, but it wasn't like dramatically more or less than others being listed in that range, and it never moved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think that there's this like, you can get a bit of a premium for top 1,000, and then like you said, maybe the top 100 will you'll get some shoppers for it. But unless you have those one of ones or whatever, it really feels like there's this huge like trap dead zone of 1,000 to 5,000 where it seems like they should be more rare, but you're just never going to get people buying them unless you have somebody shopping for a specific trait because they like collecting them, which happens from time to time. But that's very, very specific and honestly kind of lucky, right?
Yeah,
like we saw that with sorry, go ahead.
If you mint something rare, you try to sell it in the initial volume pump, and then you wait to buy back in if you care.
Right. If you care. I feel like we saw that a lot with lemons though, right? Like the lemons had a lot of people hunting for traits. That was an interesting one.
Well, again, it's the success of the community, right? We're talking about collections that are going to be pumps based on their sale, And you look at high-end collections like Bored Apes and things like that. People shop for rares that they like and they look for. And Lemons was so big at its peak, people were doing it, right? This is the same thing with Cool Cats at their peak. I mean, you need that type of popularity, and those type of collections that had that popularity will get those not even history pumps. Just like, remember, this was a thing pump. You saw with Star Catchers, right? That went 5x randomly. I always say any of those collections that had a few months of fame and are sitting at 0.02, those are automatic buys. Those floors are so thin, you just list them 5x from where they are. And that's probably a free half an ETH or 1 ETH. You just do it with a bunch of collections.
Ooh. Did they ever come out with that announcement that they were supposed to make?
They probably did, but nobody cared. I didn't.
Right. It was more of the announcement of the announcement that got the attention, and then
always though. That's why I would only look at the price to understand whether it was a good announcement. Once I saw the price didn't move, I was like, I don't even care what the announcement. I'm not even gonna go look. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
markets are smart. They're efficient, right? But they were at 0.14 for a day. You could have easily gotten off, 20, 30 of them at that price for a day or two. Had you been like, you know what, I'm going to do that play. I'm going to buy 30 of them at 0.02 right now and just list them at 0.1 and just wait. And it could take a month. It could take 3 months. It could be tomorrow. You never know when a random pump comes in one of these collections that had a moment.
Yeah, and they are still incredibly active. I will give them that. Clonex getting a bit of a pump too, eh?
Yeah, I don't remember if it was from something that Nike or they actually did. I mean, these are absurdly low priced relative to other blue chips. And
are we calling Clonex a blue chip now?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's more of a knock on apes and anything than a compliment to Clonex.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was last month, they took a little bit of a trip up to 9.5, and then they kind of slowly slipped back down to almost 7.5. So
yeah. They shouldn't be under mutants. They should be the same price as mutants.
You think that's a good benchmark for them, like going forward, or just right now?
I would say that they are undervalued right now because they're cheaper than mutants, or mutants are overvalued and are about to fall to 6 ETH.
Yeah, interesting. I don't even know what mutants are at right now. Are they probably, what, 9, 10, 11?
Yeah.
Almost 12, actually. Yeah.
It's a similar supply.
Yeah, 20K.
And these are both marquee collections. So I think it's a good comparison. And for now, I think Apes is a more desirable club to be in. But, Artifact and Nike are just going to be constantly doing things. So, who can even
going back to Polygon, Nike creating that marketplace on Polygon too, right?
Right.
Dot swoosh.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty exciting too. Again, like going just back to that idea, these companies are still going forward with all of their plans in crypto, Web3, metaverse, whatever you want to call it. So I have the Clonex, my soul Clonex, and I'm having a hard time parting ways with it. Because I think they're undervalued. I'm still waiting for that LeBron James thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a thing, right? Like, but they changed it.
The point is, they have so many things like that, and this is Nike. At any time, they're going to do something big and flashy that'll get them to what they should be valued at. So, I'd bet on Nike here, of course.
Faux show, huh? All right, cool. I think that's most of the topics we have.
I mean, the only other collection I'd really put above them that I think we all understand, like is a blue chip, would be Mecca.
Mechaverse,
yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, you want to talk about premier NFT collection.
Smaller supply too. This was what an interesting time in NFTs.
The halcyon era of last October.
Yeah, beginning of October. Wow. 8 ETH that went up to.
Only 8, huh? We thought that was a pump back then. Little did we know Hapes was going to flip that within minutes of mint.
That we should have known that was the top, you know?
Hapes?
Yeah, that was the top, wasn't it?
That's the thing, though. The top goes a lot long. You know, when you want to fade something like the top or buy something like the bottom, you'll learn that they last a lot longer than you expect. So you sell the top in August, you see everything plummet. You're like, yes, I sold the top. Haha. Then you look and it's going higher and higher. And then it gets above its old top and you start to go, fuck, what did I do? Oh shit, it's going up even more. Oh my God.
And then you buy in and then it dumps.
Right. And the same thing at the bottom, right? Just the opposite. So this is very difficult to tell. You know, people were talking about NFTs being a sign of an overall, you know, general top in all markets for a year and a half. It's hard to know when that exactly is going to come to fruition.
I guess in terms of date wise, though, January 31st, February 1st, like kind of wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think after that, we started to see the decline in NFT volumes. I'm not saying it was.
Well, no, I mean, yes, though, Other Side and Moonbirds were some pretty impressive money moving around still in NFTs. Plus, Pixelmon was after that.
Was Pixelmon after that? Yeah, true. Oh, yeah, that was like March, wasn't it?
This thing went until early April, till it really...
All time. February. Oh, it was never really trading that high, though, was it? 2 ETH top. And then the reveal. Yeah. Oof. I think that was the dump there. One of the more spectacular events in NFTs for sure.
Now with a pretty nice comeback in the making.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's undisputed. They're certainly coming back. Whether it'll be successful, I have no color.
Yeah, I guess the threat of substantial jail time is a good motivator too, right?
Follow through. Yeah.
Like he had the funds, he had the capital, $70 million they raised off this, and then all of a sudden, you know, the scream of rug, what were you doing with the money? You never had this team behind you. That whole, you know, the teaser video that they had was all a sham. And he probably was just like, well, shit, I probably actually should do something or go to jail.
I heard their biggest VC backer was FTX.
They didn't have VC backing, did they? Oh, you're joking. Fuck.
Fuck.
I'm brutal this morning. I'm sorry, man.
No apologies. That adds to the comedy, don't you see?
Yeah, I guess so, right? I don't know. I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I was like, well, might as well start watching Breaking Bad again. That was smart.
Yeah, I'll do that since I'll wake up extra early and then you gotta find a TV show.
Yeah, to fall back asleep to. I could probably have just turned the TV off and I would have fallen immediately back to sleep, but
okay, don't get crazy, man.
I don't know. I don't know. What else? Anything else we want to talk about? Any fun news popping up while we've been on the show? Been scrolling Twitter, been looking around. Doesn't seem anything.
No, nothing fun. Everything is not fun today.
World Cup just started.
Yeah, I guess there's a coin called CHZ, which is a sports coin. I don't even know what that means, but it was pumping crazy into the World Cup, and of course the World Cup was sell the news. So that dumped more than everything else this week.
Yeah, I saw I don't know. You don't follow that at all, do you?
No,
No.
that is the game of soccer, which has no bearing here in the United States.
It's getting pretty popular there, man. I wouldn't fade it.
No, it isn't. And they try to push that narrative every cup. It is not at all getting popular. It is made fun of as a game for wimps who pretend they're hurt when they are not.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's pretty hard to argue that part, but incredible athletes, man. I don't care what you say about it. England won their first game this morning.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, they have the Queen as the helping them out.
Right. The Angels in the outfield style. It's the Queen in the midfield.
Now there is a hit movie. All right.
Angels in the outfield?
No. Queens in the midfield.
Oh.
Angels in the outfield. No, Queens in the midfield.
You remember that movie, don't you?
Yeah. Yes, I remember the movie, but we're thinking ahead. We're look, you came up with a great idea. Stop ruining it. Now, the Queen, all right, and we would have to get them played by somebody good. I would say, who would play the Queen there? That would have to be Nathan Lane. Okay, you guys know Nathan Lane. He would be a perfect
nice.
Queen.
Yeah.
All right, and he basically just helps the England team get to World Cup glory from beyond the grave.
Gonna need a lot of help there.
I think it was also the rugby championship. There's so really busy sports week there in England.
There's a game that I actually just don't understand. Love going to the bar for a football or hockey game. The sudden burst of energy after a goal is electric. Hockey is actually a good bar sport. I don't typically, as a Canadian, this is sinful, I know, but engage in watching it at home. I find it pretty boring, to be honest with you. I know, gasp, right? I'm a basketball guy. Much more entertaining sport than IML.
Literally the most boring game ever considered. Only matters in the fourth quarter.
No, it doesn't.
Imagine watching a basketball game before the fourth quarter. Imagine.
Okay, hot take here. To me, football is the most boring sport.
Football?
Like American
football. Boring sport.
Yeah.
Interesting. I would have thought you would have said baseball because that's most people's go-to.
No, I actually love watching baseball. Especially late in the season and playoff baseball, you're watching those teams trying to make it. The thing I love about baseball is that it's very difficult to get in the playoffs. It is actually an accomplishment to make it into the playoffs.
Right.
Whereas in every other sport, well, I shouldn't say every other sport, but basketball, hockey, all you have to do is be average, right? 16 teams make it into the playoffs. There's 32 teams in hockey, 31 in the NBA. Like, if you're an average team, you're in the playoffs. Like, that's not that fun, honestly. But football, to me, there's just so much downtime in it, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I don't watch a lot of football, but.
Yeah. Well, you're a Giants fan, so I don't blame you.
They're doing well this year.
Are they?
Yeah. They were one of the few undefeated teams left, I think, until a week or two ago.
I'm trying to figure out what the actual play time is in football. It's like shockingly low.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a full 60-minute game, the ball is in play for less than 18 minutes. No?
That's crazy.
You don't care.
I go through sports phases where each game interests me for a certain amount of time. I got very satiated by the Giants beating the undefeated Patriots twice. Like, you just can't achieve. There's nothing else to achieve after you do that. Like, you beat the greatest team with the greatest player of all time twice as an underdog in the most dramatic fashion possible. There's literally nothing left for me to do in football. I've done it.
It is it is pretty hilarious that Eli's career, other than those two games, is incredibly average.
Yeah. And then you have people who have Hall of Fame careers and never win a championship. And Eli made up for all of them with his career, which is unimpressive stat-wise, yet layered with the most impressive Super Bowl wins of all time. So again, I'm very satiated there. As a Yankee fan, we have more rings than toes and fingers. So there's just not much to be said there. I'll tell you what I yearn for is a Knicks championship and a Rangers championship. Ooh. That gets me up in the morning.
Rangers always seem to be close.
God, I don't even. Last year, man, if there was a shot.
Yeah. Hockey is a hard sport to win the championship on, though.
Yeah. Everyone's
How are the Knicks doing this year? Ooh, not good. Well, better than Lakers. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jets and Giants are winning teams this year, so continued confirmation for this year being a simulation. It is all a simulation, my friend. Yep. Oh, Lakers not in last place anymore. Hell yeah. Big things, man. We're making the playoffs this year. Calling it right now.
Bitcoin to 40K. I'm calling it right now.
40K? That's fun. Or do you mean like tomorrow?
Huh? Oh, I meant today. I was talking about today.
40K today? Man, that would be a run.
What would have to happen? The Fed would have to announce an emergency meeting to lower rates 400 basis points.
No, I just out of the blue, it's just like Bitcoin is now our reserve currency.
Right. United States goes, you know what? We see it now. We get it. We were hesitant. But you know what? We get it now. We're with it. We're with it. No more dollar, only Bitcoin going forward. That may take us above 40K briefly.
Oh, briefly? What?
Well, all moves to 4 million. I mean, we'd have to go back and test it just for posterity. You can't go straight.
I think it goes straight to $1 million there.
I mean, if we were really going to be honest with ourselves, the only two chains we need are Phantom and Near, and that's because I have 10x leverage in both. So.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
I could not tell you what either of them do. The names are cool. I mean, Phantom. First of all, you couldn't have a cooler name for a chip. Phantom. That's a $500 coin, right? Just on the name alone, 17 cents right now. And Near.
I disagree.
How could you want to be far from Near? You want to be as close as possible to Near. It'd be impossible.
Keep your friends near and your enemies nearer.
No, and as my basic thesis is I'm really, really bullish on these coins because I own them.
Phantom Protocol?
FTM.
PHM? Oh, FTM. Oh, I was spelling it. I know which one you're talking about, right? Yeah. Forgot that.
And then Near, which is a decentralized internet. I thought that's what we were doing anyway. Everyone's like, oh, great pick, decentralized internet. That's going to work. Wait a minute.
This is the one you're 10x leverage on, eh?
All right, Dad. I heard how you said that. Oh, son, hey, you winning, son? Oh, this
bold
is the one
strategy, Cotton. Oh. I know. We're going to come back on the show on Wednesday, and it's going to be like 87 cents or something, and you're going to...
Oh, from your mouth to that would just be a small 50x. And I could close out my
trading on FTX. You can't even get this on Coinbase?
Nice. Now you know it's a winner because Coinbase
No.
still has to pump and dump it to their clients. Oh, look at this new coin we've discovered.
Man, if DSO's on there and Phantom isn't.
There is an uncomfortable amount of DSO chatter.
Yeah, I saw that too. And all of a sudden I was like,
like,
God damn, do I have to buy this again? Is this what we're
Nope.
doing? No.
I'm like, oh, I know why, because I sold a bunch. Now they're like, oh, Whale Shark is there again. But I just have to say,
I don't fuck that guy.
I think the best thing that any of us can do is either go skiing if it's cold where you are, or go fishing if it's warm where you are. I would even contend, don't even get near the grass. Fuck the grass. The grass is stupid. Everyone was touching the grass in the spring and the summer. Look at what they did. Leave the fucking grass alone.
What was that whale shark coin that you convinced me to buy 3 ETH of instead of buying Bored Apes?
Elite.
Oh yeah, Elite. That's it. No, that's not it.
I even made money on the creator coin they made for the coin. There was it was a coin of a coin.
On this one?
There was a creator coin made for the Elite company.
On
the coin of a coin.
God damn. Winning.
Well, the good news now is ETH is worth a third of what it was.
Oh, that's not it.
You didn't even lose as much as you thought you did.
Oh no, I lost a lot on that. Didn't even find it.
All right, I know that, but Near and Phantom, those are not leaks. Those are the ones.
What happens if we find FMC? There, why are you betting on this
Holy
one? FIDO
shit.
Meta.
That would be, now that's a good coin. FMC.
You could take over this one.
You could literally call it free market capitalism. People would be like, that's a great fucking coin. Free market capitalism? I would buy that coin. Who wants to do that? Do we have any devs listening? I have been thinking recently.
You can literally just like go to a site and make your own coin, can't you?
I want a good old-fashioned DeFi farm, like total 125,000% yields, very vague roadmap that alludes to incredible world-shaking ideas. Please.
All right.
Please. Someone
let
help
me know when you drop it.
FMC coin, free market capitalist coin. I will fund the initial liquidity with creature toads. So everybody get in on this.
Did you see that the Utes might be migrating to ETH?
Why?
Because Solana sucks.
Oh.
Like, apparently that's been a big talk. And then I saw people like, oh, if Utes migrates, it flips doodles immediately. I mean, maybe.
Well, it's at, what did I see? 100 Solana right now, which is 20 grand. What are they at?
They're 100. The floor is 109, 110 Solana. That's what, $1,200, less than an ETH. I guess just over an ETH right now.
Man, crypto is down.
Wonder what Doodles is at right now.
Can you imagine paying $1,200? I mean, look, people are still paying for these things, I mean, not that these aren't just fabulous pictures.
You don't like the Doodles?
Never had. I like the color palette, and I like it when the color palette is applied to other things. The Doodles,
Here for the Doodles FUD.
No, I have no FUD. I don't think they're gonna go up in price, but I have no FUD.
Like short term or ever?
I guess Short term, they certainly seem to have the power to move the price when they do parties, or maybe that was just the bull market. I don't know. We'll find out.
I still don't understand. They've had this duplicator thing sitting there forever.
It's almost like none of these projects have any fucking idea what to do.
Right.
We moved too far away from the NFT as the product, you know? You're buying the NFT. What else do you want, you greedy, insane people? What do you expect? A streaming service built around your NFT that's going to share profits with you and deliver a more creator-centric experience for gamers? I mean, come on. Wake up.
I mean, it would be nice.
Lots of things would be nice.
Wouldn't say no. Yeah. Oh, Valhalla. When is that mint? Tomorrow? 22nd, right?
The 25th, I thought.
Let me pull up the announcements. I thought it was Tuesday. It is. Mint day is... I finished off the wallet collection. Oh my god, why is my computer going so slow? We never even talked about all of the Valhalla FUD about that, those screenshots and the DMs.
Oh, there was FUD? Ooh, fun. What was the FUD?
You didn't see that?
No. Tell me.
Oh, there was
news to me.
It's the guy who's the founder of 1984, which is really kind of waning in popularity compared to Valhalla. Used to be part of the Valhalla team, and shared some screenshots of him talking with, I think it was like Alex from Valhalla, that they were running out of funds and you know, or couldn't pay him or something. But he basically said, like, you know, I can always just pull a quick rug pull to raise some capital. And then he kind of came out and said, oh, you know, I was just joking, like, blah, 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 you know. But the context
1984 has the FUD, or the Valhalla?
The screenshots were from Alex of Valhalla.
Oh, he's the one who said he could just run a rug and get some money.
To raise some money.
Look, that is a funny joke. I mean,
but it didn't seem in the context of the DM that he was actually joking. I don't know, but
I'm being sarcastic. That's not a funny joke. That's not a way we don't. You and I don't joke like that in the DMs. I don't think that that's like that's a funny joke. I'm very honest.
I think we say that with we never, like, behind the scenes were like, oh,
well, no, I'm very honest about my desire to create a Ponzi scheme, but it's a very transparent one. I'm not trying to deceive anyone. I want the Ponzi cycle to come back. I loved it. It was a game. I don't want to trick anybody into thinking they're buying something they're not. I want us all to say, yeah, let's get another cycle of this in before regulation comes down and ruins it. I think communities are valued, okay? And if you can create a community from something, it does not matter what that... Look at Cardano. Look at any of these coins that create communities. That's where the value is. Doesn't even matter what the underlying thing is. I miss it. But to deceive people, to lie to them and claim you're going to do something you're not, that's what's insidious to me. I think we all understood what was going on here with these BNB shit coins and the ERC20s we buy. No one's buying these things thinking they're going to change the world. It's first in, first out.
No, sorry. I still took me way too long to find the Valhalla details. Where did that go?
Too long.
Oh, well. It's tomorrow.
Traditional markets opened up and have been lower, which I think has been a drag on crypto, which tried to break out before markets open. Now, I I expect the S&P to eventually start to go up, maybe today or tomorrow, but certainly dampening things right now. The thorn in everyone's side today would be King Dollar, which after seeing quite the pullback after this year's insane rally is bouncing a bit here. The euro got to 104. We're back to, I guess, 102 now. But mind you, we were down at what, 97, 96? I mean, this is quite a bounce for dollar-denominated pairs like the euro and the yen. So waiting to see if this dollar strength can wane and give us a little bit of risk on here. But additional markets holding us back. We didn't tank anything. That's at the very least. It's the S&P's fault. It wasn't us today.
Yeah, it looks like we had that double top at 4.
Where do I like the S&P here? 39.25. If it loses 39.25 on a closing basis, I would rethink that. But 39.25 is the type of support, is where I would be looking for buyers to step in. Again, on the S&P. The S&P has changed temperament a bit. This last pullback has been pretty orderly, pretty mechanical. The type of pullbacks we saw during the bull market, during this bear market, pullbacks have turned into unhinged downside moves that just blast past any support levels that you thought were support. We seem to have changed temperament. The pullback right now is healthy. It's letting air out, getting the relative strength down without seeing markets roll over completely. Let us hope it continues to do that. 39.25 is where I see good support here on the S&P. If we lose that, we have to rethink what's going on.
Stonks
have been strong.
Strong stonks. Yeah, man. All right. I think it's time to wrap that up. What's up? I gotta poop. In case you wanted to know.
Cool.
I mean, I can bring the camera with me if you want.
Good luck at the tables, Degen.
Oh, I was just gonna say Go
ahead.
Thanks, guys. I'm not desperate. It's not like poking out or anything. It's time.
Wow, you're digging deeper with the
yeah.
Go ahead, do the outro.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. Episode 167 is in the books. Always good to see some familiar faces up in this bitch. Free market, get us out of here.
Good luck at the tables, DJ.